Hello, my hamster friends of the world. I'm Rachel. I have hamsters, and today we're going to talk about little Laverne and her ongoing abscess issue. So if you haven't seen my previous video about what's going on with Laverne, I will post a link to it down below in case you want to check that out. But to summarize, it started in July of 2021. It's now December of 2021. So this has been about 6 months now in the works for this poor girl. But about 6 months ago, we found basically like a growth underneath her ear. And it turns out once I took her to the vet that it was a bacterial growth, some sort of abscess underneath, maybe coming from her ear, some sort of ear infection situation. A little hard to determine where it's coming from precisely. But after a few different rounds of antibiotics and several doctor's appointments, she did finally get the surgery. And that was about where I ended the video last time. She had just gotten back from surgery. She had a staple in her ear. Poor little thing. And that was it. So we brought her home, and this is how she's doing post that first surgery. She actually was doing okay. I have to say, I was so worried about her having surgery. I was like, oh my gosh, is she gonna make it through, going under? And especially now, because you're very removed from the process. I just bring her in my car, I drop her off at the door, I'm not allowed inside. I don't get to see the doctor, the vet calls me afterwards. So it's a very kind of removed process, and I really wasn't sure how she would do, but I also knew that she seemed to be in pain and not herself. So it seemed like, we needed to do something about this. I couldn't just let her suffer. So yeah, she got the surgery, and she came back, and here she is, and she healed pretty well. One of the things we did have to start doing is putting that cream on her wound. And I also took away her sand bath for a period of time to make sure that she wasn't getting any sand in the wound before it healed. But you can see in the background, she does have her sand back now, although she still looks a little scraggly. Poor thing. But yeah, so she was doing pretty well for a little while. So before we go any further, I do just want to call out, this is Laverne, and Laverne has a sister named Shirley. I got them as my fosters. I volunteered with a local hamster rescue, and they came from a backyard breeding situation. So they were bred probably from pet store hamsters, and now they both have all these health issues, which are, both painful for them and uncomfortable, and also hard for me. It's a lot of work, time, energy, money, and emotional energy as well. I'm happy to take it on, and I'm very glad that they're getting the care that they need. But on the flip side, I do want to say this experience has made me just so appreciative of the small animal rescues, the people who take in tons of hamsters. I only have 4 hamsters, and it feels like a lot. I love it, but yeah, I can only imagine what it's like to run a rescue. So, if you're able to donate anything to those small animal rescues, any amount is helpful to those people. If you're able to donate a resource like bin cages or wheels, or your time volunteering at a local shelter, anything you can do, if you're not aware, but hamsters and small animals in general are in excess at shelters right now, because a lot of people impulse bought them at pet stores and then just disregarded them when they kind of didn't know what to do for them, for their care. And it's really, really sad. And a lot of these rescues are really struggling right now for the resources and the human resources that they need as well. So anything you can give, your time, your money, your resources, I'm sure would be much appreciated. I'm going to list some of my favorites in my local area down below. If you have a favorite, please, write it in the comments. And I highly, suggest everyone go volunteer to be a foster, volunteer at your local shelter. Whatever you can do makes a difference in a little furry creature's life. So it's very well worth it. And you might be able to tell from this video, but here Laverne is eating a blueberry, and she also has some egg, I think, in there, and her probiotic. I had to give her medications with food, so it was important that I find foods that she actually will eat and not just pouch. So blueberries, she was pretty excited about those. I actually think I had frozen blueberries, so I would microwave them and then cool them and then give her half of one. And eggs, she's usually a fan of, although sometimes I think she does get sick of eggs, and she likes them to be fresh, so I have to constantly be making new eggs, which is always fun. I found that these little lids can make pretty good hamster plates, but they're not the best. I still prefer more of a ceramic plate, and that's because sometimes they do spill these plates, or they're just too easy for them to move around. So I have used these just because I've had to use so many hamster plates lately, but I don't think I recommend it. I think the little chopstick plates that I've shown in other videos, and you'll probably see in this video, those are much more functional as hamster plates, or even some little saucers. So this video, I just had to share. It's not the best, but I did get this ladybug hide from Night Angel, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's so cute, and Laverne, I knew when I saw it, Laverne would look really cute in this hide, and she loves it. She goes in the holes and waits for us to give her little treats. So it functions exactly the way I knew it would. She's just so sweet. So yeah, in case you're looking for a cute hide for your hamster, I do love that one. Here she is again. She likes to bring in, I like to give her little puffs, and sometimes she carries them in there. Even though I'm not even sure she eats them, she just excitedly brings them in there. And there is one of those ceramic plates that I was talking about. Those, they're supposed to be sushi chopstick holder plates, but they actually work really great as hamster plates. So I've been using, I got a set of 5 of them, and they're just adorable, and they work great. You can see she's made quite a mess out of her box. So I have to keep replacing her box because it's covered in blueberries. But worth it. Worth it. She's so cute, and I'm very happy to see her be happy and thriving. So at this point, it's now been a few weeks since her initial surgery in September, and she's doing okay. I think she recovered from the staple, everything pretty well. But on the flip side, I didn't really feel like the infection was getting better, and I really wanted to find out more. We were supposed to do a culture of the wound when she had the surgery, and for some reason that got missed. So I called and I made sure that we did do that culture. The culture cost $200, so it wasn't a super cheap thing to do. But I'm really glad that I did it, and if I could do everything over again, I would have done that culture from the start. I know it's something that my vet held off on because she was trying to not go overboard with spending a lot of money, which I'm thankful of. But I think if we had known what this was, we could have just maybe dealt with it sooner, and maybe it's hard to know. Everything, hindsight is definitely 2020. But this is the bacteria. Thank you, Wikipedia. It's Enterococcus, and Enterococcus it's not an uncommon bacteria. It's found in your gut sometimes, but as an infection, it's kind of difficult to treat. It can be pretty antibiotic resistant. So she got put on a new antibiotic, and it's called azithromycin. Yes, which is basically a Z-Pak. That's what we take as humans when we have a sinus infection. So she got put on a Z-Pak, more or less. And so she takes that every day. This medication has to be refrigerated and also, of course, taken with food. So still playing the role of hamster chef every day, making sure that she's eating while she takes her antibiotic. And in the meantime, really spoiling her to death and making sure that she's living every moment to her fullness. We got pretty indulgent with her, especially once I found out what this bacteria was and how awful it can be. I think I've just been doing everything I can to make sure that her day-to-day life is fun and enjoyable, and this is why sometimes she gets to go hang out in a bowl of seeds. But she definitely enjoys it. Spends a lot of time squeaking and shoving things in her mouth, which is super fun. I don't share this bowl of seeds with any of the other hamsters, just to be clear. I do keep her separate because of her infection. I just don't want to risk any contamination there, so we do keep her separate. One thing I would recommend, she loves those little pea flakes, and she's about to shove one in her mouth. It's kind of big. If you have a dwarf hamster, I try to break them up before she is allowed to put them in her mouth because they're kind of sharp, and I don't want her to cause a hole. We don't need that. So unfortunately, even though she had the new medication that was targeted towards her bacteria, Laverne still was struggling, and I made a follow-up appointment with the vet, and the vet actually did a more intense cleaning of her wound area and ear. So you can see she has an incision and a staple actually there. It's a little bit bloody because this was the day that she had that done. Yeah, I'm always so impressed with Laverne. It's like we can bring her to the vet and she comes home and is just like 100% her normal self. like not a beat. She's just like, all right, where's my bowl of seeds? I'm ready now. Poor thing. Yeah, she had this cleaning done and the vet said, things aren't looking super great. It seems like the infection has possibly spread to her cheek area. She said when she when she held her breath was kind of stinky, like that infection smell. And actually her infection does have a smell. It's hard to explain exactly, but you can tell where it's at. And the vet said she could smell it coming from her mouth as well, unfortunately. So it did feel like things were not necessarily progressing in the right way. The one good thing I will say is that Laverne really loved the taste of this medicine. There's some days where she's not as excited about taking it, but overall it's cherry banana flavored, I think. And I usually try to put it on a fruit like a banana or blueberry. This is a blueberry here. And of course I also give her like something else like cucumber or egg, just to make sure she's eating, also making sure she's getting some calories in with the antibiotic. But yeah, getting her to take it has been not so bad, but unfortunately it just like hasn't been working as well as I hoped. And you can see how inflamed she is, and that infection is really starting to spread into her cheek area, almost towards her eye. Poor thing. So I already had an appointment scheduled for Laverne to get the staple out 10 days after she had the cleaning. So I decided to go ahead and call my vet and just say, you know what, let's just do this surgery. And in fact, originally I had the surgery scheduled for 10 days after the cleaning, but I pushed it up. I said, as soon as you have an available time to do the surgery, let's just do it. So I had it scheduled for a Tuesday, and until then I just was trying to keep her comfortable and distracted with lots of enrichment. You can see this playpen. I sprinkled some hamster flowers and flax seeds in the hemp there just to keep her excited. I did have her kind of in a simplified bin to make sure she didn't get into trouble or get sand or anything else in her wound, but I did try to make sure she had as much enrichment as possible to distract her from what I'm sure is painful and difficult. All right, so we have about 1 more minute left of cute Laverne videos, and then things start to get a little bit gruesome. So if you're squeamish or you don't want to watch, go ahead and fast forward about 2.5 minutes. You should be clear of it by then. But I want to share it with those of you who want to see. I think it's important to share this information. It's just, I find it's very hard to find hamster health info and recommendations, and sometimes getting to a vet can be difficult. So I think the more knowledge we can all have, the better, right? So basically what happened with Laverne is that her infection got so bad that it actually ruptured. So I had scheduled her surgery on a Tuesday, in advance, looking at her, seeing, okay, she's going to need the surgery. But on the Saturday before that Tuesday, she came out and she was bloody and she had this big gash on the side of her face, and there was pus coming out. And so I reached out to my vet, of course. They couldn't see me any sooner than my Tuesday appointment, but they recommended that I clean the area with sterile saline solution, which you can purchase or make at home. You can look up a recipe. And of course at room temperature, not hot or cold. And then I used 2 Q-tips to gently press some of the infection out. She had a lot of pus, so kind of trying to relieve that pressure. And unfortunately, that was all we could do for her. I did have Medicam, so I tried to keep her comfortable. This is before we cleaned her, but this is how we saw her when she first came out. And you can see she's got a lot of pus even on her ear. So it was really hard to see, and we just did our best to try to keep her comfortable until we could get her to that vet appointment. I did try calling every ER for animals in the area. Nobody could see her sooner. So this is her in her carrying case, and I have a little cup there to scoop her out. So again, I had that appointment Tuesday morning, and I'm so thankful I had made that appointment in advance. What a relief. So here she is happily eating an egg post-surgery. This is the same day as her surgery. That's why she looks kind of like a little zombie hamster. I think it's kind of adorable. She was so energetic when she came home. She was so happy to eat some scrambled eggs and broccoli. I was just so happy to see how happy she was. She's probably hungry, one, but she's also probably feeling better having, gotten rid of that extreme pressure on the side of her face. I'm sure that was really uncomfortable. So it was such a relief to see how much energy she had when she got home and how good she looked. I really think this second surgery has been much more successful than the first one overall. So one new thing that we got to do with Laverne after the surgery is we really got serious about cleaning that area with sterile saline water. And this was at the doctor's orders. Post-surgery, we had to flush the wound twice a day until it started to heal up. And then after that, she recommended that we just try to keep it clean with the sterile saline water. Try to clean her up if it looks like it has any discharge or if there's anything going on there. Use a clean Q-tip or a cotton swab and that sterile saline water and just clean up the area. So to facilitate the initial flushing, we did set up a little plastic bin with some towels and some treats in there for her, which you'll see in a second, a little clip. I used a syringe to just kind of gently squirt the water at her wound, and you can see she's a little wet over by her wound, and that is why she did not like it. But I did buy her some flax sprays from Redwood Grove to distract her, and that it definitely helps. It doesn't do everything, but it helps. But you can see she's really healed pretty well. That wound looked pretty good here. You can see she's no longer bloody. The scabbing everything went pretty well. And she had a follow-up appointment a few weeks later. It takes 10 days before they take out the staple. So she had that follow-up appointment 10 days later. And the vet said, yeah, she looked good, that she was happy with her progress, as was I. And the conclusion we came to is just to manage it better. We're going to keep her on the Z-Pack. So she's been on antibiotics for a long time, unfortunately. We're just going to keep her on it, and we're going to make more regular vet appointments. So I always have one scheduled a couple weeks out, and I can always push it, but just to kind of keep it on the calendar in case she gets worse, I have an appointment because, as you know, when you need an appointment, sometimes it is hard to get one, and that can be really challenging and heartbreaking. So I definitely don't want to end up in that situation again for me or for Laverne. So it's really great now. I have that on the calendar, and I'm prepared for, whatever we need. The other thing that we learned from her most recent surgery is that, just like Shirley, her sister, she has a top tooth problem. They seem to either fall out or be brittle or something. So her bottom teeth are not wearing down the way they should. And so she has to also get her bottom teeth trimmed, just like Shirley. So Laverne also has to eat some soft foods. She seems to do better. She seems to be able to use her teeth more because she'll eat hard foods, whereas Shirley seems unable to eat anything but soft foods. So it seems like Laverne's doing a little bit better in the era, but they both have the same issue, which is very interesting. So this is Laverne now. She's living her best life. We like to put her in little cups of seeds, and she goes crazy and kicks them all out and then sorts through the ones that she wants. We create lots of playpens for her and make sure that she has lots of love and attention, and that she gets everything she needs so that she can live a happy, healthy life. And as I said, here she is. I think does she still have the staple in there? Yep, she does. Okay. But yeah, I would say the wound is there. It's not gone, but it's better. It's better. She looks happier. She seems more active and healthy. And honestly, I feel like this whole experience has just made us closer. Laverne, if you remember, started out being a pretty aggressive hamster. She would, like, if I replaced the water bottle in her cage, she would come attack the water bottle. And now, you know, I mean, she still bites. She definitely bites to communicate, like, no, I don't want that, or take me home, or, but she doesn't attack. Her bites are mostly pretty little. They sometimes they hurt, but they're significantly less aggressive, and she's just clearly likes having attention more. In the beginning, I think she had a lot of anxiety and stress, and and now I think she seems to be happy and being goofy and funny. Here she is. Weirdly trying to get a seed from the side of her box. She's just the funniest little hamster, and I'm just so happy that she's, at least that this is more well managed for her. And you know, the reality is she's now over a year and a half old, so I don't know how much time I have left with her, but I think but hopefully she's living a good life, and her quality of life is as good as possible, or good enough that it's a life worth living. And I definitely think she acts like it is. All right, so if you would like to see Laverne's little tiny bite, communicative bite, she's about to give one here, and there it is. No, thank you. But as you can see, overall, she's gotten a lot easier to handle. She doesn't bite hard like she used to, and you know, if you're thinking about adopting, please do it. There's so many hamsters like Laverne who just need a little TLC, and you know, they might come around too and become just such sweet little creatures. Honestly, even if you can't hold them, I just still think she's so much fun. She's such a quirky little thing. So please support the rescues and the animal shelters near you. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any medical stories to share about your hamsters, or you know, anything at all, I'd love to hear from you. This is really why I do this, is to share information and, you know, and create awareness around the little creatures that often I think are a little bit disregarded. But look at how cute they are. Come on. All right, I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you.